Trying, just kidding.
Close your eyes. Don't look. Don't look. Who is it? Francisco.
Frank is Frank on.
Francisco.
And what are we up to? Is it 200?
No, I think we're at 320 already.
Dang.
320.
320.
And Frank, you missed it.
Frank missed it. Sorry, Frank. Off we go. So do you know what we do? We do a progressive drawing.
Oh.
So we do a drawing every week, but they have to be in attendance somehow. And so every week that they aren't here, and we draw the name, we add $20 to the pot. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So okay. So again, we have Joseph Morales. Joseph has been rated. He does Veterans United. Right? Veterans United. They help veterans, and also it's not just veterans and non-veterans, but it is similar to, it's an online platform.
Yes.
It's similar to like Realtor.com or Zillow, but he has been rated in the top 1% of all the agents that participate across the nation in Veterans United. So Joseph and I were talking this morning because I said, maybe you're number one. But we just don't know if Joseph is number one or not. But we figured the number of agents, Joseph is in the top 70 agents in Veterans United. Wow. So, and Joseph is the master of converting and retaining these clients. He has he's going to talk about it, he has a lot of leads in his pipeline, and he somehow juggles those and balances those. That's why he works all the time. Mm-hmm. But we appreciate your time and taking the time out of your busy schedule, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Joseph.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction. Everyone, for those of you who don't know me, again, my name is Joseph Morales. I've been a real estate agent for 2 years now. I want to appreciate Louis Alcantar. He got me into the industry. Sarah and Jacqueline has obviously helped catapult me to where I'm at today, among all the other resources that I use here with Downtown Realty. So before I begin the class, I'm going to speak a little bit about myself because it has relevance to what we're going to be talking to today. So I'm just going to give a little history of my background. Okay, I was in the military for 8 years. I was a scout sniper, a combat veteran. With that being said, I had various jobs in the military. Right, I was an 0311. That's an infantryman. I was a primary marksmanship instructor, martial arts instructor. And Marine Corps Scout sniper. I have over 50 combat missions, and believe me, this is all going to have relevance because I don't normally talk about this stuff in the open, okay? So with that being said, I led a lot of Marines in very dangerous situations, and they have to have trust in you in order to follow you, okay? So that it's going to speak to what we're going to talk about today. After that, I was a logistics manager, supply chain manager with Walmart Distribution. I did that for 19 years, and my last 5 years I was one of the leading performing managers in the nation with Walmart Distribution. Okay, I had 50 associates plus that I managed, and again, they have to have your trust. In order to achieve that, people have to trust in you and believe in you and want to follow you, want to work for you. So it's not about everything you know, it's about the trust that you gain from the people that you work for, because we're servant leaders, right? If we want to be leaders, we have to serve our people as well. I taught for a little while when I left the distribution center. I wasn't exactly sure, and I was doing real estate at the same time. I kind of put real estate on ice while I was teaching, and I was just a substitute teacher. But nonetheless, I was given an award for the short amount of time that I was there because our students, their CAS scores went up when I took a long-term position, and I was given an award for that. But again, that goes back to the trust that the students have in me, right? So military, professional life as far as logistics or supply chain, and students in the classroom. And now to what Sarah spoke to, I just recently received an award for 1% among all agents in the nation with Veterans United, it being the biggest referral agency in the nation. Okay, and top 2 in the brokerage as far as sales, and an amazing brokerage to boot, with a short amount of time in my experience as a real estate agent. So with all that being said, there's one constant, right? It's trust. It's gaining people's trust and buying to what you're selling or what you're providing, whether it's safety, security, you know, navigating your clients through the process, and then just gaining that trust. Because at the end of the day, we're salesmen, but you don't want to come off salesy, okay? You want people to have confidence in your skills and confidence in you and be able to trust you to the point where they don't want to go anywhere else, okay? So I hope that all makes sense. We're going to be given a class today on retaining referrals and clients as a real estate agent, okay? From clicks to closing. I've been with Veterans United for just over a year. And in my first year, obviously, we just spoke to those achievements, right? And that's something we all can do. So I say all this, right? And it wasn't easy. These accomplishments weren't easy. I had my trials and errors. I've had my wins and losses, probably more losses than wins. But it's how you recover from those losses and what you learn and take away from those losses. You have to be able to take self-accountability, okay? You have to be able to self-reflect and bite your tongue sometimes and swallow that pride. What are you going to do to make those changes? What did I do wrong to mess up this transaction or to lose a client? That doesn't mean you're done. That means you need to rebound, self-reflect, and take corrective actions, whatever that looks like. Reaching out to the brokerage, reaching out to people that, you know, like myself or other successful agents who are able to do it and take their information and make it your own, okay? So we're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to be talking about, we're going to hone in on trust, transparency, and just personal connection. Okay? Building a foundation for long-term success. Jackie's going to help with the slides.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why
So,
matters?
why client retention matters. And when I give this class, if anybody wants to chime in or has anything to say or add, please feel free to do that. We're not holding questions to the end. I'd like everyone to be engaged if you guys would like to be.
We'll watch the chat. and
Okay.
see If anybody has questions. Can
Okay.
you see it, Jackie?
That's why I have my phone right there.
Jackie's got the chat going, so if you have questions, put it in the chat or in here if you guys have questions.
So our first slide, why client retention matters. Well, first, repeat clients reduce marketing costs, right? For any real estate agent, that's what we want. We need repeat clients. And when I talk about marketing costs, I'm talking about not only monetarily or, you know, money-wise, I'm talking about your time, right? If you're having to spend less time marketing yourself, you're in the field or, you know, you're on the floor, you're working with clients, okay? Or you're reaching out to clients, getting that business. Referrals boost business organically. How do you get referrals? You have to do a good job with your clients that you're working with, right? You have to gain that trust, everything that we spoke to earlier. You want to get, you know, you want to get those referrals. For me, I pay a commission when I do a transaction with Veterans United, okay? It's 35%. I'll say it out loud, it's not a secret. I've got to convert 2 to your guys' 1, right? But I do it. And then I get my organic leads from them too. So I'm satisfying these clients and they're giving me people that I don't have to pay a commission to, or, you know, part of my commission to Veterans United, right? So very important to gain referrals organically. And then strong relationships create consistent income, okay? So obviously if you can connect with your clients and you develop that relationship, they're going to refer you to other people, right? I'm speaking to it now. I'm closing 2 or 3 a month regularly since I started, and it has not stopped. I've had 10 in escrow at one time. I'm trying to get 15, not because, you know, just as a personal goal now, because I believe I can do that. But yeah, strong relationships, key to success, okay? Next slide. So, trust as the foundation. Be honest. Always be honest. Don't ever mislead anyone, all right? If you don't know the answer, be honest. Hey, you know what? I don't know the answer, but I'm going to find out for you. All right? Speak with confidence, obviously, but be honest. People can have a way of figuring you out, all right? And one thing that I've always been is honest. It doesn't matter what industry it was in. The military, logistics, a school setting, in sales with real estate, right? If you can take accountability and be honest and not act like you're a know-it-all, and you can connect with people, that goes so much further than just the knowledge base itself, okay? Set clear expectations from the beginning, all right? When I speak to people, I do set clear expectations, but I don't go in as, hey, you know what? I'm Joseph Morales. I charge this much for commission, but you know, I'm personable with them, right? I get to know them. Hey, you know what? I'm Joseph Morales. How are you? How's your day? And then kind of lean into it. But once you get that traction, they also want to know that you're going to help them navigate through the process, right? Hey, I'm going to help you navigate through this process. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. So it's important that you guys know all aspects of real estate, even the lending side. You don't have to be a lender, but you need to know what rates are. You need to know what lenders can do for you, how they can help your clients out, how you can leverage lenders to help your clients out, right? And let them know that you were there from start to end, right? I also let them know I work 7 days a week. I don't work from an office. I work from my phone and my computer. I go to an office every now and then, but I don't have a boss down, barking orders at me. And I also know that buying a house or selling a house is one of the biggest purchases or sales of someone's lifetime. So it's emotional. They want to know that you're there for support. So I let them know, hey, I don't mind taking phone calls. Don't ever act put out about doing anything for your clients, even though sometimes they may call you in the middle of dinner. You don't have to answer it, but sometimes you may be having a bad day. Don't ever let them know that you're put out. Always be positive, okay? Make them feel comfortable and valued. Follow through on commitments without fail. Very important you follow through. If you say you're going to call them, you need to call them. If you're going to send them homes, you need to send them homes. If you have showings, you need to show up there on time. If life happens, right? It's happened to me. You know what? I'm going to be 15, 20 minutes late. It's not always good, but people recognize that. They understand. But from the onset, you're gaining their trust, right? From everything that we've already talked about so far in this short amount of time, it's all about gaining their trust. People are okay with that, all right? But always follow through with your commitments. Even if it's something you can't make, give them a heads up with, plenty of time for them to adjust. Very important. Next slide. Transparency builds loyalty. Okay? Explain every step of the process, right? So when I say that, I don't mean be like an instruction manual. Be so comprehensive. Speak to them in their tone. Consider your audience. Some people speak at a higher level, some people speak at a lower level, but that's part of being personable and getting to know somebody and being able to connect with them. But you need to explain to them. For example, when I had a client the other day, right? Or yesterday, I was showing homes to. They want to buy a house, but they've got to sell their house first. But they're doing it backwards. They're looking for homes before they even list their house. And in order for them to purchase a home, they have to sell their house first. So they got me running around everywhere. It's a waste of everyone's time, right? But I'm not going to tell them it's a waste of our time directly, right? But I'm going to explain to them why it makes more sense to put their house on the market and put themselves in a position to purchase versus they find a house that they really like, they can't even make a move on it. Because as we all know, hardly anyone's going to take an offer contingent upon someone selling their house, right? And I guess they had a real estate agent before, kind of not helping them navigate through the process. And they were like, well, we don't feel comfortable with this last person and how they did it. So I explained to them, listen, let's list your house. So today, after class, I'm going to get a value of their home. I'm going to go look at their home. We're going to market. We're going to list it, right? But I explained to them, listen, let's list it. It's not going to cost you anything to list it until we sell it. And then we can put it contingent, selling their house contingent upon the purchase of another home. Because that's much easier to do, right? And it just makes more sense. So kind of explaining that process to them in a thorough manner, in a way that makes sense to them, now I'm going to their house to go list it, right? Now we're working in the way that we should be working. That makes more sense. Yes, Sarah.
Was that a lead through Veterans United?
Yes.
So when you get those Veteran United leads, sometimes they turn into two, right?
Oh, yeah.
This one. So, but they're calling about a purchase, and then you found out they had a house to sell.
Yes. So Veterans United has the buyers and sellers. I'm not even on the selling side yet. Once I get another sale, now they're going to start putting me on the selling side. I'm not going to know what to do, but to your point, yes, they turn into two. Initially, when they, contact VU, they're in the buying side, and then you find out they got to sell their house. So now I've got one client that's turned into two transactions.
Do you have to pay?
I was gonna ask that, do you have to pay on the listing?
Yes.
You've gotta give them 35%.
Yes.
Even on that one,
what
even
if-
though it was a.
On both.
What if they bought another property, anytime they buy property?
You have 36 months after they connect with VU, and if they give them to you, you have 36 months before you're out of contract and not having to be obligated for that 35% commission.
But if
Okay.
they refer you to somebody, you don't have to pay on that, right?
No, if they refer me, if my clients that came from VU refers me to someone else, that's mine. Okay, so and that happens a lot. Sorry. Okay. Provide market data, openly, right? Always know what your interest rates are. Know what the market's doing right now. I'm getting a lot of, I want to put a graph together because most of my clients, I get them some or all their closing costs, right? Because that's what the market is. It's more of a buyer's market. Homes are going for appraisal value, but selling below appraisal value. So you're able to wrap up closing cost with that market. And if you're able to explain that to them, right? If you're a veteran, you already don't have a down payment, right? And if you're a disabled veteran, you don't have funding fees. So you need to know that. Okay, so now you just have closing costs. Closing costs are about 3% of the value of the home. So you need to know that. It's actually 2.8. But I always inflate it because it's better to say you owe less, right, than more. And if you can get 3%, if you can get their closing costs covered, or most of it, you got happy clients. But know this, the market, right, people aren't taking, some clients come in, oh, we want to offer 20, 30,000 reduction or, of what they're asking. That's not happening here. You need to let them know, listen, we can probably get you some closing costs, maybe reduce what you're going to offer, but we're not going to get huge price reductions off these homes because people just aren't doing that. And then you let them know, put yourself in their shoes. If you got a house for $400,000, are you going to take it for $370,000 right out the gate? No, you're going to sit on it and see what you can do. It's a lot of money, but maybe we can get some closing costs. And what kind of communicated your clients that way, they start to understand and they start to buy into the process. Okay. Be upfront about challenges and risks. Okay. I sent out a link the other day on Facebook about what it looks like to sell a house and why it's not always best to take the highest offer. You could take the highest offer, but that doesn't mean that you've got a well-qualified client who's going to purchase that house. What if their finances are wishy-washy? Sometimes it's good to get two lenders to ask for another lender for a pre-approval, right? We can do that. Or what if your house, if you're selling it, has some issues with it, right? You got inspections that have to happen, they can hose up the process, but you have to be upfront as well and disclose all those things. But there's just a lot of challenges to selling. It's just not trying to get the best offer. When you're buying, you need to make sure, even if it's a conventional loan or loan types that don't require inspections, it's always smart to get those inspections, right? And let your clients know, hey, you know what? They are they're not that costly. A few $100s can save you thousands of dollars. But let them know the challenges up front and why they will benefit them, okay? So being upfront from the get and not telling them at the end of escrow or in the middle of escrow, confronting them with the problems as they come. Try to disclose everything that could happen from the get, and that's the trust that they start to gain from you. And there's no surprises. People don't like surprises. Because I will say this about lenders. Some lenders will underinflate price sheet, right? And then as we're about closing, oh, you got all these charges that you have to pay for. No, I don't like that. If I'm talking to a lender, I tell them I want the numbers and I want them as close as possible. Don't underinflate. If anything, overinflate your numbers. Okay? You set those expectations. Again, be personable. Show genuine interest in your client. Sarah and I were talking about some, younger agents, and this is more for the younger agents, for everyone, but for the younger agents, because people look at you and they look at, your age and your experience and all that stuff, right? But be genuine, be personable. Don't be salesy right out the gate. Get to know somebody, right? Hey, how's your day? Or, if you introduce yourself, this is how I do it. My name's Joseph Morales, or if I call somebody, hey, this is so-and-so, and I'll be like, hey, this is Joseph Morales. I was referred to you by Veterans United or Realtor.com or whatever lead. How are you today? Blah, blah, blah. And they'll say, and I'll say, you know what, this won't take very long. I just want to explain some of the services that I provide and what I can do to help you save money and time and effort in your buying or selling process, right?
So you come right out of the gate with, because this is important, right? When they're getting these online leads, because I know a lot of the agents are struggling with online leads. You don't come out with anything salesy.
No.
It's, how can I help you? I'm going to help you. You're going to give them some information to help them save money.
Yes. So put yourself in their shoes. If you are in the market to buy a home, right, or to sell a home, how do you want to be treated? Well, we all want to save money first and foremost.
Yeah.
So I ain't talking about my commission. Okay, I want to know that someone's going to take me by the hand and lead me in a way that is meaningful, that's going to save me time and money. Okay, so when I do speak to it, I introduce myself, right? Obviously, if I got a lead, it's because they're inquiring on a home. So I'm going to speak to that, but I'm not going to be pushy. I'm going to introduce myself and let them know that, hey, like I said, my name is Joseph Morales. I was referred to you by so-and-so. I see that you have this property of interest. Do you have a moment? Yeah.
Do they ever hang up on you?
No. I've been hung up on once or twice, but if they're inquiring, they obviously want to know.
Are they inquiring about one single property? Is that when you get the leads, they're like inquiring on a certain house, or is it just in general they're approved and they send
They'll have properties of interest, right? But that doesn't mean that's the one that they're dialed in on. They're just in the market to buy. So I just let them know that, first I ask them, introduce myself, and then ask them if they have a moment. And then I let them know, hey, I'd like to just communicate the services that I provide. And then I do a soft approach, right? I say, listen, I want to, kind of provide you the services that I provide and how I can save you time, money, and effort. Think about it. Time, money, and effort. All right? And then I go into the boxes that I check, right? I tell them, when I go into, hey, you know what, if you're buying for the buying side, well, I want to save you money, right? I'm not here to make a home run. I'm here to gain to gain your trust. So I want to help you with your closing costs. I want to find a lender that's going to give you best terms and conditions with your interest rate, right? I want to make sure that your house is of value. I want to make sure it's functional. We want to go through the discovery process and make sure we can find out anything and everything wrong with this house so we can put together a great offer with best terms and conditions, right? And I always tell them, by law, the seller has to tell us if there's anything wrong with the house. That doesn't always mean it's true, so there's a discovery process. If it's a conventional loan, right, I let them know that, hey, this is why it's important to have inspections. Unless it's like a flip and they just want to, there's certain scenarios where you're not going to do inspections. But what I'm doing right now is developing a foundation and a trust by explaining to them the services that I provide without acting pushy and talking about, ooh, This is what I get paid. This is what I charge. Because some agents will come out the gate, hey, you know, I'd like to work with you. I work for 3% commission. Nobody wants to hear that, right?
So once you talk to them, Joseph, about services that you offer, how you're gonna help them, like, what's the next step when you're talking to them? Do you ask them if they wanna see property? Do you try and get them pre-qualified? Like, what happens after that initial?
So we're talking, right? On my initial introduction, I explain to them the services that I provide, and then they start talking back to me, right? And depending on how the conversation goes, first of all, on my dashboard, it'll tell me if they're pre-qualified or not, so I know.
Oh,
'Cause
you
the
already
information
know.
is there. But if it's not, right? And I ask them, I'll ask them, hey, you know, what's your timeline like? And you know, because they start engaging once I start talking to them, and I let them ask me questions. That's very important, right? Don't just start bombarding them with so much information that their head's about to explode. I just give them the basics and be very personable when I'm talking to them. Do you have any questions? Oh yeah, I do. I like this property, or I'm looking in Fresno, or this area of interest, or I'm not pre-qualified. My credit's not this good, or whatever. They'll start feeding you information, and then you start going off of that, right? So let them kind of engage with you. Don't press them for everything. You have to make it your own. Not every conversation I have is the same. It's different. You got to consider your audience when you talk to them, right? So being very personable and engaging and showing genuine interest without being salesy. Another pitch that I use, right? When I go show homes, I'm not here to sell you the house. I'm not going to talk to you about floor plans. The house has to sell yourself. What I'm here to do is to protect you and give you best terms and conditions. This is what you like. We're going to figure out what the value is, and we're going to, you know, do what we can. They already know my services, all right?
Yeah, people
Don't-
they don't want to be sold. They want to go.
They don't want to be sold.
shopping.
I don't shadow them when they look at the house. I open the door and said, you know what, you guys are on your own. When you're done, we'll circle back if you have any questions. I'm going to do my own inspecting and make sure I can find out I know what to look for, right? So remember important details and dates, okay? Well, what does that mean? They're going to give you a timeline when they're looking for homes. Some people, like I do a lot of military, so they're being transferred from one base to another. They have a timeline. So it's important that we stick to those timelines. I have an agent or a client right now who's moving from out of state. He'll be here May 23rd. I'm already looking for homes, doing virtual tours. And when I talk to him, okay, you'll be here May 23rd. He's surprised that I know the dates. And he's buying into that, right? And he also wants to be an agent now. He's a veteran like myself. He's looking for something else to do. And I think he's very personable, so I'm talking to him about the industry. And he likes just to chit chat. I don't have time to chit chat all day, but it's good to be engaged. This guy doesn't want to use people. Sorry, I'm busy, but at the same time, I don't ever have to put out.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to cut conversations short or shorter without kind of, you know, being disrespectful or, you know, I'm good at that.
Can you say something like when you answer, like, oh, hi, Joe, or whatever his name is, you know, hey, I just want to take your call, you know, I'm just getting ready to walk into an appointment.
yeah.
I have
I'm
10
always
minutes.
walking into an
But I'll say I'll have 10 minutes, right? I've got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I want to take your call. What's going on?
Of course, there's nothing wrong
So you
with
set
that.
the expectation, right?
Of course, setting the expectation, right? But they're already calling, right? Because they're engaged with you, because now they trust you where we're at. So just remember important, even their birthday, whatever. Let them know they feel valued. Okay. Industry knowledge and confidence, all right? We talked about it. Understanding market trends, like I spoke to when we were talking about closing costs and what people are doing. And you have those clients that think they can just come in and offer 40, 50,000 below what they're offering. Set the expectation from the get. You know what, this is the market right now. Unless it's been sitting here for a long while and there's something drastically wrong with this house, agents are good at setting values when they put it on the market. Let them know that. We run comparables, break it down. You know, sales that just recently happened within 0.5 miles or a mile of your home. That's how they're getting the value. People are going to be hard up to take huge reductions. But let's find the cost savings where we can, right? Closing costs or whatever, or a combination of both. Whatever works for your client. Know your client, know their financials, know you're not their lender, but you still need to have a knowledge and understanding of their personal business because you're the one structuring that search form and negotiating the terms. No contracts, escrows, and negotiation strategies. We just spoke to that, right? Speak to the other agent. Call them. Yeah, MLS gives information, but I call the agent. It's a team effort. You got to be personable with the person that you're working with on the other side, right? You got to be able to work with them. Where is their client? What is the situation of their client or them? How long has it been on the market? Are they pressed to sell? Are they in escrow with someone else? Or there's so many different various situations, but you have to find out what that is to structure good terms and conditions, right? For your client. Some people are like wary about VA loans, right? Or FHA loans because they have inspections. Hey, I let them know, listen, I do this all the time. VA loans aren't that bad. It's just a home inspection and pest inspection. Does your house have termites? If it doesn't, we're good. I mean, obviously, if it looks a little shady, people are with other, loan types are going to probably ask for inspections anyways. But you just have to be able to navigate those waters and tread lightly and get people to want to work with you and buy into you as this buyer's agent, right? That, hey, I've got a great, well-qualified client. We are interested in this house. We will do what we can to make this happen. So you're working both sides. You're working your client and you're working the selling agent, right? Because you can't speak to their client. But you're making them feel comfortable and confident in your skill set that you can make this happen. I've done it so many times. Provide expert guidance at every turn. Again, know your business. I'll be the first to tell you, I learn every single day. I use a technical coordinator. I lean on my technical coordinator for helping me navigate through the paper trail, right? But I'm always involved. If there's something that we need to communicate to my client, my TC will call me. Hey, we need to do this. Hey, we need to sign disclosures or whatever the case may be, right? And there's still things that I have questions on, but I know the meat and potatoes of the industry. And if there's something I don't know that I need to know, I'm going to find out. Deliver exceptional client experience. So everything that we're talking or speaking to, right, is leading into this. Quick response times. When I get a referral, I call them right away. Okay? The ones that I haven't, I've lost because I'm not perfect, right? So but if I'm working with the client and we're in escrow or we're actively looking for houses, right? I'm Johnny on the spot. It's the ones that, because I do have such a big pipeline right now, the ones that I'm not actively engaged with, but they're in my pipeline and they call every now and then. Sometimes I don't engage with them like I should, right? And it's cost me, so I'm not perfect. And I learned from those mistakes, but what I have learned is if you have a quick response time, I should be 10 more transactions deep right now, I'm not gonna lie. But because of the lack of response time in some of the scenarios, I've lost clients. Okay.
So you're saying response time, like once you get the lead?
Anything. If there's somebody that's just inquiring, they don't even have to be a lead, right? But if it is a lead, an online lead, you want it. I'm doing Realtor.com right now too. I just bought into that last month. And I'm so inundated with VU and organic leads, I'm kind of taking it for granted. And I've called them a day later, it's done, right? I'm working with a couple now because I've got a lender who's working with me who has access to my Realtor1.com dashboard. He's Johnny on the spot within a minute. And now we've got 3 that we've converted into actual clients. Yes,
The
sir.
leads that you're getting from Realtor.com, are they the ones like you grab the quickest, the first
Yep.
one to claim it gets it?
So I've been paying for the higher conversion lead, I guess, where I'm shown 8 times to the other clients 2 times.
But do you have to claim it, Joseph?
Yeah. Well,
It's not like it's.
no, it's
No.
so it's still on my dashboard even if somebody else has it,
Oh, okay.
right? So
Okay.
it's different than VU, but I could call somebody and they can already be working with another agent. So
Being quick is crucial. to
because it's
these
going
online
across
leads.
Zillow and everywhere else. Anytime they're inquiring, right, they're probably looking at other platforms.
Yeah.
So you're competing against everybody. Bottom line, with these realtors and Zillow leads, you're competing with everybody, even Realtor, because that doesn't mean they're only using Zillow. They're using Realtor
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're just clicking buttons on, you know.
Yes.
They're just clicking.
too. So it is important that you call right away for those online leads. Do not sit on your hands with those. Okay?
I don't know if you're gonna get to this later, but I have a question.
Yes.
So, are you gonna get to like if they don't answer on the first time?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, listen, let's talk to that because that's on this slide. Okay, so if they don't answer, right, it's important that you gather all the information you can via your dashboard. If you're doing online leads, your dashboard will have information on there. It'll show the property of interest. What does that show? The area of interest, property of interest, the value. Put them in your CRM. Just put them in your CRM.
Right away, you put it on.
Right
your
away.
CRM.
Lofty's what I like about Lofty, it's everything's connected to my email. So when I get something from realtor.com, they're automatically put in my CRM. Now it's your responsibility to put in the parameters, right? In an automated campaign, drip campaign. Okay? Meaning that you need to put in, according to the information you have, put them in a drip campaign. Send something out. Stay in front of them, right? Because people don't, you can throw a dime down the street and hit a real estate agent. How do you stand out? You gotta stay in front of them. So putting them in that CRM sends it directly to their email. What I do, send it to their phone. Text message them initially, and then the emails will be automated, right? But you can get the information on the house, the value. So if it's a $400,000 house, I'll do like 320 to 440,
Yeah.
right? In Lemoore, I'll just do it in Lemoore. I'll do Lemoore Hanford. And it'll start sending them homes. And I'll send them a text. Hey, you know what? This is so-and-so. I'd love to help you. I'm already sending you homes. You have any questions? But you're staying in front of them. That's how you
That's smart.
That's how you get those leads. Because they're really, I mean, unless they already know an agent that they're working with, everyone's up for grabs. You have to stand out and get in front of that.
Don't you think I think that's the most frustrating thing for agents is, you know, you call, they don't answer. And then what do you do to stay? And then, so what's the cadence of your follow-up, Joseph? Like, do you have a certain schedule? Like you call the first day, you
So-
set them up on the CRM.
I set them up, I'll call them, they don't answer. Always leave a voicemail. Don't be pushy when you leave the voicemail. Hey, this is Joseph Morales. I saw that you were inquiring on this property. I would love to help you and communicate the services that I provide, how I can save you money and time. Oh, use keywords, how I can save you money and time, right?
That's going to be different than what most agents are saying. Most agents, what are they going to say? Oh, hi, I saw you calling about the property on blah, blah, blah. You know, you're more like, hey, I'm going to save you money and time.
And then now to, you know, with my experience and accomplishments, I'm able to say, hey, you know what? I'm one of the leading agents with Veterans United, or whatever it is, right? I kind of end with that to get them, oh, wow, maybe I should call them.
Yeah.
Even if whatever you guys want to say, something, a catchphrase, right? But don't be pushy. If they don't call me the next day, right? And then I'll send a text. You know what? Hey, on my phone, I have on my notes 3 different like text messages that I'll leave, right? And it's already pre-written. I copy paste and just put their name there, and it leaves like an introduction. I'll give you an example of one of them, okay?
So this is right after you call.
Yep. Then I send a text message, okay, with my business card. Right. So it's very important that you guys have business. Like,
I got a picture of your business card. Or
yep.
is it one of those
It's a link.
links?
It's a link, but it populates my picture,
Nice.
you know, and all my contact
So
info.
now they put a name, a face to a name.
Yes, that's extremely important. So I have, as you guys can, well, you guys can't see, but I have 3 different notes or texts that I send. Here's one. Hello, so-and-so client. I hope you're doing well. My name is Joseph Morales. I'm a real estate agent with Downtown Realty and a preferred agent with Veterans United. I specialize in helping clients find their perfect home and save money through effective negotiations and programs available for qualified people. I'm committed to working hard for you and getting you through the home buying process. Please feel free to reach out anytime to discuss your needs. Thank you for considering me as your agent. My name and then the link to my card. And the link to my card populates my picture in their text thread. So they automatically see my picture. It's
So
not
it's
just
a
a
That's
link.
an app, right?
It's
Yep.
a call, it's a text, and then you go in there in your CRM.
Yep.
That's right out of the gate.
That's right out the gate. So now I left a voicemail, text message, right? And they've got a missed call. I don't bug them the next day. I might wait a day or 2. See if they call back. People are busy. They don't want to feel like they're being pressured either. So that's part of the salesy thing, right? Maybe you can call them the next day. I've done it, but I kind of fill it out. And it's good that I'm busy as I am because I don't get to it. And then it's worked out many times where I call them a couple days later and they're ready to go, or they reach out to me, right? Don't feel like, take it personal if nobody calls you. And a lot of times they might have already reached somebody else. But a lot of times, even if they have, I've taken clients from other agents. I mean, before they're in contract, they've already spoke to other agents. But after speaking to me, 9 out of 10 times they feel comfortable and they use me. Okay.
How many times, sorry, I keep going back
No,
to this, because agents struggle with this, right? So first day you call, the text, the CRM, and you get them on a drip on the CRM, right? So they're getting something. And then you don't call the next day, but then you call day 3. What happens if they don't answer on day 3?
Don't take them off until they're in contract. This is the problem. This is where your pipeline can get really big. Okay, but if you're there in your CRM, you know what the great thing about your CRM is? You can tell if they're looking at your emails.
Yes, you can.
If they're opening up your emails, you still got them. If you go in 2 or 3 weeks and there's absolutely no response, it's okay to let them go. I say give it 2 weeks at minimum. 2 weeks, all right? But keep them in your CRM anyways. Take them out of your dashboard
Yeah.
and off your call list, but keep them in your CRM, right? Always keep them in. It's automated. You can have 1 million people in your CRM.
They may crop up later.
Yeah, I've had people call me months later, months and months. I'm like, oh, I don't remember, but I have them in my phone, right? So when they call, and if they're imported to my phone, I look to my CRM off the notes or my dashboard if they're still on my dashboard. But leave some sort of notes. Your CRM allows you to do that. That way hey, how are you doing, James? Yeah, we haven't spoke, but and they're like, oh, you know my name? Yeah, you were looking at this property of interest. I have that information. Remember important dates and times, events. Remember things. Keep things that are going to keep you engaged with your clients. That's impressive. People find that, very personable and like genuine, and they feel valued.
It's a lot of work, these online leads, right? I mean, it's not easy. There's a lot of effort. You just can't call once and be done. That's
No.
not what happens. You've got to stay consistent. And so, does it hurt your feelings sometimes, Joseph? No, you don't get your feelings hurt if they don't call you back.
Never met.
I'm not a robot. Things do bother me, but that just comes with experience, and just learn not to take anything personal, right? Because if I've been treated like that, so has Sarah and everyone else at one point in time. It's not personal. Some people I've had people call Veterans United saying I wasn't a good agent. I'm like, what? But VU's like, don't worry about it, Joseph. People are people, right? I was cussed out one time, not gonna lie. And I knew it was coming because this person was cussing out the whole process. I was the last in line to take it, right? He was cussing out the lender, the inspectors, everyone. And
You
it was
were
like,
waiting for your turn.
oh my goodness, I knew it was gonna happen. We had to move them in early, right? Because the mobile home was waiting for a certificate for the permanent foundation. and the county was taking its time. So we got it moved in, and when I called and said, hey, we need to hook you up to power, and they're not charging you rent, but we need to hook you up to the power and water, I got yelled at and cussed at. And
When they want to
hung up
live
on.
there for free and
Yes.
somebody else pay their utilities.
So, I was like, hey, I was trying to explain, hey, this isn't, I'm not throwing this on you. This is just something part of the process. It doesn't matter what you say. I didn't do anything wrong. But, hey, it happens. Am I going to let that ruin my day and affect the way I treat everyone? Nope. I was still consistent, polite. It is what it is. Right? If you did something wrong, if you did something wrong.
Yeah.
That's where you take self-accountability and corrective action. Because if you don't learn that, you're not going to be successful. All right? Don't think about yourself. When you wake up, think about what can I do for people before yourself. I promise the world has a way of reciprocating itself.
Yeah.
All right? That's being genuine. And I think that's going to be the biggest struggle to clients if you're not successful, or to agents if you're not successful. And it doesn't mean, being the way I am is just going to make you successful overnight, right? It's not. I was licensed for over 6 months before I had my first client. My first client was another teacher at a school that I was working at. And I gained his trust, and he was like, yeah, I'll be your first client. It was another Marine. I worked with the lender was Veterans United, and they were impressed with, how we work together. People don't realize that your lenders are just as important part of the process as you or anyone else. How you stand out, though. I stood out to that lender. We made good friends. She referred me. 6 months later, VU calls me. I wasn't even, you had to have at minimum of 2 years. I had 8 months as an agent, and then so many transactions. But I was able to sell myself to VU. They took me on, and now I'm here, and I've gotten a couple other people into Veterans United. I'm hoping to get everyone in downtown or whatever, right? As many people. If VU is going to have people, because it's very exclusive. There's only 15 or 16 of us from Porterville to Fresno. I've had 300 leads, right? So very exclusive, and if you work hard, you can do the same thing. And it doesn't have to be with VU. It can be with anybody. Just learn how to convert. So consistent follow-up and check-ins. We just spoke to that, right? You kind of have to make it your own. So my rule of thumb is if no one answers and they're just completely ghosting me, 2 weeks, I've got too many other people in my pipeline. If you don't have that problem with too many people, it doesn't have to be 2 weeks. Keep them there indefinitely, right? Something will surface. Like I said, people have called me back months and months later, okay? Maintaining long-term relationships. I'm still talking with clients that I've closed transactions with. They call me and just to check in on me. Or I've got 2 clients right now that we're going to have to go to court because some of their non-disclosures, right? Things are starting to surface that they should have just. But I'm not sitting on my hands. I take those calls. They're just as important to me as the ones I'm actively working with. Okay, and they are impressed. They are appreciative of it. Those are going to turn into referrals, or when they sell, right? So maintaining long-term relationships is key. Don't ever act put out if anyone calls you. And if they're there to ask you questions, I always let them know I'm available for questions anytime. If you have anything, please feel free to reach out to me. That connects with people. So sending helpful market updates. Keep them in your CRM. Sarah's talked about this in the past. I just keep them, send them, birthday notes, and just stay in front of them, because if one of their friends has a client, I had a client call me the other day. He needed his HVAC, and he's like, man, I've been thinking about you, and I've sent so many, referred you to a bunch of people in my HVAC industry, and people I've been called by so many people just through referrals because they were thinking about me, and they remembered the engagement I had with them and continue to have with them, right? I'm not gonna lie, I've made friends with some of these people. We're out and having dinner or whatever, chopping up and having a good time, and just people remember that. So celebrate clients' milestones, right? So clients that aren't qualified at the moment, right? And you're working to get them qualified. Keep them in your pipeline. Find a good lender. I work with the 3 lenders right now. Okay, I work with Veterans United and their lending team. And then when there's clients that need a little more hands-on, right? I line them up with a couple of the local lenders that I work with regularly here. And these local lenders have to work for me. I give them enough clients. They need to work for me or us, right? So we put our clients that aren't qualified at the moment, we put them on a path to qualification. I got a guy who just called me the other day. Been working with him since last August. He's now qualified. He was qualified for 220, very low credit score, but not where he wanted to be. Now he's qualified for 300,000, 680 credit score. We're ready to go. Okay, but I kept that long-term relationship with him, and I was staying connected with him. Right. I make sure that whoever my lenders that are working with these clients. Have you followed up with the clients that I've sent you? Oh, well, you need to follow up with them. So we'll follow up with them. We're staying connected. It doesn't even necessarily have to be you, but it's going to be through you.
Right.
Okay? There's a lot of moving parts to this industry, but it's how you set yourself up and how you stay connected with your clients or potential clients. Some of them don't ever convert, but that's okay. They felt that genuine care for them where they're going to refer you. I'm telling you, it's amazing once you start and you're able to connect to your clients, what they'll do for you. Okay? All right, encouraging referrals. I don't ask for referrals out the gate. All right? When we're done with the process or going through the process, a lot of times we're like, hey, I'm going to refer you to these people. Oh, man, awesome. Me personally, I tell them, if you guys, once we get to that conversation, right, they've already gained the trust. I don't ever ask for referrals unless I know I've got their confidence and their trust, right? I tell them, listen, if you give me a referral, I'll give you $500 if we close a transaction. I will give you a referral fee. Who doesn't want that, right? You don't have to do that. It's something that I'm willing to do because I pay a lot more than that if it's not organic. Right?
Yeah.
So that's nothing to me. It shouldn't be to anybody. Something is better than nothing, right?
Right.
So if you can gain that, and if that's attraction, if that's the leverage you use, people will appreciate that because now you're appreciating their time and their input, and you're giving them value to that in a monetary sense. Again, make clients feel valued. We just talked about that. Being personable and just, have a genuine interest in them, goes a long ways. Offer exceptional service they want to talk about, right? The struggles, the ones that struggle the most, and then we finally get them to the finish line. I just had a client the other day, we closed on Kane. We were in escrow at this house, and it was contingent upon the sellers to find a new house. Well, they had put so many offers in, right? They couldn't get an offer. And my clients were living with their parents. They were done living with their parents. They had a big family. They wanted out. So we said, you know what? There's other houses on the market. I see there's similar houses. We found a better house that they're much happier with, right? For better terms and conditions. And I got a bigger commission. Okay. No, I got to be. It went from 1.5% to 2.5%.
There you go.
All right. The other agent didn't do his job. He couldn't close the deal. He wasn't very forthcoming, transparent. Hey, that's on him. Another thing I need to speak to, real quick. Don't steer your clients away. Some of us, we all want to work for 3%, right? But especially on the buying side. When you find out people's financials, when you find out the selling sides, you have to be intimate with the process in everyone's situation to determine what you think the value is for that particular transaction. Because some of them aren't 3%. They're not going to be all 3%. The seller's not going to be able to afford it, or whatever. You may have to leverage your commission to get an offer accepted. Don't ever steer anybody away because you're not getting paid enough, right? And you're gonna steer them away from a house that they want because you feel like you're not getting paid enough. Don't ever think that, because if you do, you're in the wrong industry, and you're not gonna be successful. You may be here and there, but that's it, okay?
100%.
But if you can get that 3%, get it. But know the transaction, know everyone's situation, know what's gonna work. And I promise, I always let my clients know when I give up commission, hey, you know what? I'm very transparent. I tell them we work for 2 to 3% on the buying side. I haven't had one person have to pay me commission, from the buyer, because the law is they can now if the seller doesn't want to give it up. Well, the seller's not going to sell that house because I'll let them know I don't want you to pay for my commission. It is a cost if they decide not to do it. You really want the house? I can't work for free, but then they'll say, you know what? We'd rather just move on because we're not going to do it. But that's not you pushing anything on them. You're doing
Right.
everything you can to get that transaction. Okay. But in a nutshell, right? Don't steer anybody, guys. It's one of the biggest purchases or sales of their lives. So think of it that way. And I promise, one will turn into another, especially if you have that mindset.
What's the lowest commission you have taken?
1.5.
And still paying the 35%.
No. 1.5 on my sale that I just had for a client that I purchased the home. I was the buyer's agent for him, which was organic, 3% here in Porterville. And then, they separated. 8 months later, they had to sell it, right? So I sold it to 1.5 and gave the buyer's agent 2%, right? Because I wanted to sell it. I still made money. I sold it within a week. We went into contract within 1 week.
And you had already made the 3%.
And I already made the 3%, right? And they weren't, what I wanted them to do was to break even and not lose any money. So that's how I structured what I was going to charge for commission, right? For the buyer and the seller. I took the least amount because I feel like that's a respectable thing to do. I'm the buyer's agent most of the time, and I'm shopping people around and taking them places. So respect the process.
Yep.
Respect the process.
Do you ever ask the buyer to supplement that commission if you're getting a lower percent, pay you themselves?
I have not. And I will not do that. I will just recognize the financial situation of my client and determine what's going to be charged at that point. So obviously if I can get 3%, I would love to leverage that. But I'm not going to be out the gate, hey, I'm going to try to get 3%. Let's see what we can do. No, I'm going to find everything out and make that determination myself. Okay? Conclusion. So basically, you need to lead with trust and transparency. Everything we've been talking about, right? Be personable and knowledgeable. Create clients for life and not just one sale. That's what's going to keep you busy. And I feel like I'm a testament to that, being new to this industry and being able to do what I'm doing. But all my life experiences, right, and everything that we talked about at the beginning, in a nutshell, what everyone needs to do is take away from all the struggles and failures, right? That's most important. Take away from that. Figure out, why did I fail here? Why did I struggle in this particular situation? What do I need to do to self-correct? Make it your own,
Make
right?
it a learning.
Make it a learning experience. But we can't always be so prideful. I was very prideful when I first started in logistics. I came straight from the military to management and had a hard time managing people because I wanted my way.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to adjust. Once I adjusted, sky's the limit, right? And I carried that as a lifelong experience. I just went back and said, okay, why did people trust me in the military? Why did they trust me with their lives? This is why. Now I'm in the civilian side. Now you need to adapt and overcome, figure it out. These people aren't military, right? But I was able to self-reflect and take those corrective actions and then, move it from one industry to another. And every industry that I take it to, obviously, I had my struggles in every industry, including this one. No one's perfect, but I'm able to bounce back much faster than I, was being green and learning just life experiences.
Does anybody have any questions for Joseph? Do you have any questions at all?
I have comments.
We have a comment.
Oh, after your introduction, Joseph, I have to call you Mr. Morales. And thank you for your service. And this has been an amazing meeting. And with your knowledge. And I just want to go back. I have one question back. When you were talking about when you send, or you send, or you call, you leave a message with your script, and then you back it up with a text with a link. Is there a difference that you've noticed of a link versus a picture of your business card? Because people sometimes are hesitant to click on links these days.
Good question, and then I appreciate commending me on the class and everything else. So thank you for that. I couldn't tell you because I've always had a link from out the gate. So no one has complained or had any issue with it. But when I send this particular link, it's the Blink card. It populates my picture.
So it pops up your picture.
Yeah, it populates my picture. I'll send it to Sarah, and then maybe she can send it and show
Yeah.
everyone. It'll populate a picture. It said Joseph Morales, veteran real estate agent. And then so they feel probably more comfortable. It's not just a blank link. It shows my picture. Okay. But to your question, no one has complained to me about, hey, I don't feel comfortable opening up this link. Because like I said, I leave a voicemail, I leave a text message, and then the link itself has my picture. So I think it makes people more comfortable with opening that link.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course.
So I think, it's amazing what you're talking about. The skill set that you use for these leads, right, is being very honest, coming forward with how can I help, coming from, contribution. These are the same skill sets we use with our SOI, with our sphere of influence, right? It's the same skill set. And I think, but agents get very frustrated with the leads, that it's just not instant.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not instant. It's not, is it? I
No.
mean, and I think the way you approach them, it gets the guard down, and you have better results at people speaking to you. Because if you're calling them and the first question is, oh, are you pre-qualified? You see it on the dashboard.
Of course.
But you're just saying, how can I help you? Because helping them may be getting them qualified or getting them qualified for more.
Of course.
Right? It's not just coming right out of the gate with that, because you've got to set yourself apart, which obviously you have done, Joseph. You set yourself apart from other agents taking online leads. Why are you doing so well and other agents are not?
Yeah, it's about your delivery, okay? What you're like out the gate, like Sarah said. We're not here being salesy. Put yourself on the other end of the phone. How would you want to be approached? We've all been approached by real estate agents, lenders, people just calling you randomly. I don't like those calls and like, hey, what are you doing? Can we do,
Yes.
speaking real fast, talk calm, confident, be personable. Watch what you say out the gate and don't be so salesy, but let them know at the same time, I'm here to help you. And this is what I can do to help you. Save you money, help you with the process, save you time, right? Make it your own. If anybody has any questions or wants, I can send you the notes I have on my phone that I leave for text messages to the brokerage. And you guys can look at that, make it your own, use it for yourself, just as an idea. To help you out.
Amazing information. Thank you so much, Joseph.
Thank you,
That was
Joseph.
very good.